Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Screen Junkies Movie Fights, powered by the Schmoes Know Network. Now your host, Andy Signore.
Gap outlet.
Greetings, Screen Junkies. Welcome back to another episode of Movie Fights. We hope you had an awesome Halloween. We're here to debate some fantastic topics, and we have some amazing panelists here today. Again, this is the show where real nerds get in real fights over fake movies. So we've piled through the news. We have 8 rounds of relevant stuff to fight, including Marvel finally announced the Phase 3 lineup. We're going to debate which one are we most excited for. We're going to talk about who should be Captain Marvel. Which Marvel villain should they really bring back? We're also going to go off Marvel a little bit. If they bring back the Joker, who should play the Joker?
Holy crap.
Really a bunch of fun topics today. It's going to be a great show. I want to thank, obviously, we're here at the Schmoes Know Network. Please go check out their other shows. They're housing us here, and they're wonderful partners. We love doing this show.
Christian Harloff and Mark Ellis.
Christian and Mark Ellis are so great. Also, I want to just warn everybody, there's a YouTube feature on the bottom left. Bottom screen. No, it's bottom screen right. You can click, pick the fight, and you can watch and click through any battle you want at any point during the show. So for whatever reason we're not entertaining you, you can move on to the next one. Don't leave. Try a different fight. Great. So let's get right into this. And I want to meet the gladiators of today's battle. First up, you know him from the Screen Junkies Show and so many other awesome things. It's Hal Rudnick.
Good to be here, Andy. For Halloween, I was the most popular character in recent history, Jeff Bridges from R.I.P.D.
Oh, good one. Nice. Next up, really excited to have him on the show. You know him from Belated Media. He does the What If Star Wars Was Good and so many other wonderful things. It's Michael Barody.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Next to him, he's a Screen Junkies Show regular. He's actually was on this week. Wow, 2 in a row.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
He's been on a bunch. Amazing commercial actor and fantastic funny person, Mike Carlson.
Thank you so much for letting me be here.
You're quite welcome. Hopefully you won't let us down.
I don't know.
All right.
We'll see.
Just so we all remember, I will declare a winner at the end of each round. I'm deducting points through your arguments based on passion, creativity, funniness. It's really all arbitrary to me, sadly, at the end of the day, but I'm going to try and be as objective as I can. So make sure you give good fight, be nice, don't be mean, and let's get to it. In the great words of Ken Watanabe.
Let them fight.
Okay, we're moving on to round 1. I'm starting the clock. So obviously the big news, Marvel Phase 3 was announced. I mean, we all know, hopefully by now, the movies. Captain America Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, Avenger Infinity War Part 1, Captain Marvel Inhumans, and Avengers Infinity War Part 2. A lot of exciting stuff, and I want to open up the panel. Which one are we most excited about? Hal, you're starting the fight.
Well, I'm excited about all of them, but there's only one right answer here. It's Captain America Civil War. I mean, that is the first one. If that one goes wrong, the things are not going to fall into place. The movies it's going to be a derailed train. Also, Civil War is such an epic storyline. That's one of the best comics in recent memory. Seeing all the Avengers go at it, tearing each other apart. The other movies are unknown quantities. Like, we don't know, is it going to be an origin story, or where are they going to pick up from? Civil War is an awesome story, and it's going to set the tone. Michael,
what's your thoughts?
I'm of the camp Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is my top pick. I feel with the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we've been going a little more, not dark, gritty DC, but we've been trying to ground things a little more. And the Guardians films, Guardians this summer was just the fun, swashbuckling space movie that I think everybody was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much I've needed this. And to be coming back, there are so many unknowns, as Hal articulated, but I find that as a very positive attribute that allows us to be going a lot of different and new places and exploring and seeing things in vastly different ways with that off-kilter humor that James Gunn is going to bring and the entire cast.
Yeah, love it. Mike, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts are that the Black Panther is going to be cool, and it's because this is a new thing. We're going to a different country. It's a different part of the Marvel Universe. These movies are going to be good. We know that. Like, we got it. We got the creative teams. We know these guys are going to hit it out of the park. What's exciting to me is that we're going to a new corner of the Marvel Universe. It's a different type of movie. He's a king. He's a king/superhero in a technological part of Africa. It's going to be amazing. That's what I think.
Great. All right. So I love all the, let's open it up. So fight each other. Why do you push it out?
So Captain America Civil War, it's going to set the tone the same way that Iron Man set the tone for the entire just Marvel epoch that we're a part of right now. And just taking down or mentioning the gritty tone being a problem, they're too dark and gritty. I mean, look at Captain America Winter Soldier. Man, that introduced some real life like spying and like post 9/11 world that we live in, and it turned out to be a great element in that movie. So I'm looking forward to more of that and seeing the Avengers torn apart. That's I can't wait.
I think it's a fun angle. Well, no, it's not a fun angle. That's where I take issue is we've gotten to a point where now a lot of our movies are trying to be more mature, which I can totally appreciate. But we kind of are getting lost in the overarching thematics of a movie. We have Nick Fury and Captain America discussing the privacy versus security issue a little too overtly for my liking in Winter Soldier, and I feel like we might be seeing a little more of that. And we've obviously seen just from the clips that have been teased out for Age of Ultron, we see Tony Stark and Cap more or less discussing what might be the thrust of Civil War.
Well, I love the over-the-top, larger-than-life action in all of the Marvel movies, but the gritty, real action from Winter Soldier was mind-blowing. Those are some of the best sequences in all of the recent Marvel canon.
I want to throw back to you, Mike. I mean, you're Black Panther. How do you feel about Black Panther's going to be introduced and apparently don the costume for the first time in Civil War? I mean, does that sway you at all?
Look, I like the idea that we're going to see him first. I think from when I was at the press conference on Tuesday, and he came out, the guy playing Black Panther, and they did a whole bit like, who's he going to join? Who's he going to join? Chadwick Boseman, thank you. And he was like, I think I'm staying neutral on this. So I have a feeling in the movie they're going to be like, hey, will you join us? He's going to be like, no, we don't choose sides. And then that might be it. I don't know. I don't have a high expectations.
Can't be it.
Let me just say, though,
I think it's going to be more isolated for his first film. I think that's a smarter move for Marvel to be making.
Yes. But Civil War, everyone acts like Civil War is like the greatest crossover of all time. Like, go back and read it. It's just like this kind of like thinly veiled 9/11 parable like a couple years later. And we're going to finally get that in 2016. We're going to get a movie about the Patriot Act in 2016.
Well, and we're going to be getting it from a very different perspective because it's not going to be about secret identities. But we've already seen.
Well, Civil War also handles something that I think I've talked about with a lot of my friends, like after a movie. Hey, what happens with all that death and destruction? Is there is there any payback? Is anyone held accountable? And Civil War also handles that. A very real, cool issue in the superhero universe. Who, like Superman, when you go to DC, he should have to pay for everyone's insurance policies for destroying Metropolis.
Yeah, reparations on Superman.
Do we want?
Well, I think we're going to get that in Batman versus Superman as well. It's clearly going to now become a new thread in these superhero movies. Is the destruction?
Yeah.
Do we actually want that though?
No, we don't want that because why would we want an hour of like bodies being taken out of the rubble? This is depressing. These are fantasy films. We don't need to talk about it. It's not real. We don't need to see people going through paperwork and loved ones being told that their friends and family have died in a horrible building accident.
You're right. Let's just act like it didn't happen.
Yes, let's do that because that's superheroes.
It would be very strange to be following all the tertiary characters who are like, oh, my life has been torn asunder because of these terrible...
No, you're absolutely right that we don't want it to be a grim death march, but acknowledging it a little bit like, wow, the destruction, we're picking up the pieces.
Let's do a little speculation here because I feel like we know where Civil War is headed.
Yeah.
I get that, but where do we think Guardians 2 is going to go? Why is that going to make it exciting? And also, how is Black Panther going to be good in a standalone? Because I feel like they're already going to drop some hints about him in Ultron. It's clear they showed Claw. We suspect that's Andy Serkis. And it's clear that probably Ultron gets the vibranium. Like, they're clearly dropping little nuggets that are leading us to Black Panther. And then clearly Civil War is going to give us Black Panther. So where do you think it goes beyond that? And then where do you think Guardians 2 goes? I sort of want to hear your sides.
Well, I think Guardians 2 is obviously going to be filling in some of the gaps with everything leading us to the Infinity Gauntlet. More so, I feel, than Age of Ultron will, because that's going to be very much on Earth, whereas now we're exploring the farther realms of the galaxy, probably introducing new aspects that will allow us to tie in other things if they need to. Personally, I'd prefer it to be more isolated, but I understand they need to be linking things up because people like to be like, oh, hey, that.
But you just want them to go on another space adventure not connected? Is that where you think it's going to go?
I don't think it's going to go that way, but I would not be upset were it to be a more isolated little jaunt.
Because clearly Thanos is there.
Thanos is there. I mean, Drax says, like, it's Thanos that he's really after at the tail end of the first film. So we have to assume that's at least slightly the trajectory. And I think that'll put us in a very fun place. Probably, I mean, I have to assume with Infinity Wars being split, it's just going to be this megaton collision course of everybody, and I'm assuming Guardians are involved in that.
Yeah, they're probably not going to overdo Thanos in Guardians 2 because he is, the antagonist for Infinity Wars. So there'll probably be a little drop of Thanos, and especially because in Guardians, the first Guardians, we got the most Thanos we've ever seen.
Mike, Black Panther, I want to wrap this up and move on to our next battle.
I like the idea that I think it's going to be sort of an isolated movie because it's going to take its time, because it's the first one in the series. It's going to take its time building up a different section of the Marvel Universe, and then once that thing is established, then we're going to have a lot of fun bringing it into it. But I don't see that many clear things other than the fact, like, Ultron is made of vibranium, Cap Shield is made of vibranium, which are manufactured in Wakanda. I don't see huge ties that are obvious to me that might fold into Infinity War.
Mike, is Wakanda one of those countries that has Ebola?
No.
Okay.
No, not
all
at
right,
all.
I got to declare a winner. This is tough because I want to see them all, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
But my 2 points, I'm going to give 2 points this round because I think I do like, you made a good point of I don't want to see a bunch of origin stories in some of these other movies, which they could become easily. I think Civil War is a fun story. I think the setting is great. And I do like the accountability. But I also got to give Mike a point because I agree I don't want to really see the bodies being pulled out of the buildings. That's not really exciting. And I think, Black Panther is a really exciting thing. Your point about the fantasy films was a good. So I'm going to give you both points to declare winner on that round. Sorry, Michael. Next round. You got a little higher up.
It's the nature of the beast.
All right, round 2. Avengers Infinity War is going to be split into 2 parts. Is this a good idea or a bad idea? I'd like to ask our panelists, and let's start with Michael.
It's a very solid idea. I think purely based on already what we've kind of discussed, how we've got a lot of different stories converging, and really they've been converging since we started to bring the Avengers together. This is clearly something that is going to require a lot of moving gears and cogs, all converging appropriately, and if we rush through that, we're going to wind up just with a sort of cluttered series of action sequences, which won't amount to us getting to enjoy seeing these various worlds collide, as I assume they will be. So I feel it is a necessary thing for us to be breaking the movie, or the larger story.
Yeah, just to keep us not rushing it.
Into 2 parts.
Very good point. Michael?
We need time. I think this is a great idea. We need time to see all the moments we want to see.
Yeah.
Iron Man and Rocket Raccoon. I said it on the show, Screen Junkies Show, earlier this week.
True.
They're going to be quipping. They're going to be trading barbs. We want a lot of it. We want at least 10 to 15 minutes of just that. Paul Rudd and Howard the Duck. Think about that. Think about that. Paul's just deadpanning, and Howard's, they're trying to go to the club. I want a 10-minute scene about that. I know it doesn't make sense as far as Infinity War, but I want it. I want all these moments to get as much time as possible. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I want them in it. I want the people on the Marvel show. I want all the Netflix people. Daredevil, Luke Cage. I want any other Netflix show. House of Cards. I want Kevin Spacey in it. I want everyone in this movie, and it needs 6 hours for that.
Do you want them in part 1 or part 2?
I want them in both. I want everybody in both movies. I don't care. I want more. I want more.
Hal?
What you just described is a bloated mess. Okay,
fun mess.
I do want to see Iron Man and Rocket going back and forth, Robert Downey. But man, 10 minutes of that. I mean, De Niro and Pacino weren't even on screen together for 10 minutes in Heat. So that's like Wow.
But didn't you want to see him for more than 10
you
minutes?
want 10 minutes.
Less is more sometimes. Less is more. So I'm saying...
But wait, were you the same person who argued that Godzilla wasn't in the movie long enough?
Well, he's the star of the movie. Here, there's a lot of mouths to feed. We're talking about one scene of quipping.
Fair,
by the
okay.
way. Okay, so I'm excited for these two movies. I'm going to see them either way. But I think let's put aside this 3-hour Lincoln mindset of movie making, like one after another, and make a streamlined film. And how many films do they have leading up to this movie? They can't do the dirty work. They can't do the heavy lifting in Guardians 2, in Captain Marvel, in Cap Civil War. Let's add it up and then boom, have one major film. 2 films, by the way, they only do that when that's going to be the end of a franchise. That's like a franchise ender. Harry Potter, Twilight, and those were not the best examples. There's a lot of bloat there. Gosh, worst case scenario, it becomes a Hobbit. We don't want a Hobbit. Do you want a Hobbit up in that mix?
I don't want a Hobbit up in this mix, but it's Marvel we're talking about. This is not another thing where it's just a cash grab and they've cut the movie in half just to sell more tickets.
Yeah, Disney doesn't care about money.
They love money.
Regarding The Hobbit, though, if we can be getting Denny's items for Avengers...
I ate a
That's
Denny's
a game changer,
meal last
Michael.
November, and it was the worst meal I've ever had. I am not joking with you.
Infinity waffles, guys. Infinity
That's
waffles.
a good idea, but anyway... Back to the argument.
Well, I guess the argument, though, is should it be in 2 parts? Like, is there a standalone film in each of these films, or do we care? And can we not? Is the rule, if it's going to be continued and there's too long of a story, rather than make a 6-hour movie, we're going to make 2 3-hour movies?
I'm fine if it's one movie as long as that movie is 6.5 hours long. I will sit there. I will love it. I will love every second of it.
Well,
I'd poop myself.
with regards to it being the end of a capper, I feel in many ways a lot of our actors' contracts are expiring on this film, so it seems like that is what's going to be happening. And Phase 3 is introducing a bunch of new heroes, so we're getting a fresh reset while also being introduced to hey, here's the next wave of everybody that you're going to be stoked on.
And I want to rush us through this, not to cut it off because this is a good debate and people are going to be mad at me, but I think the reason I'm going to go with Mike on this is because I feel like they're making a movie where it's the only chance we're going to get all these people in one movie together, whether it's part 1 or part 2.
Right.
They're clearly all the contracts, everything's falling in line, and I think if there's one moment to see them all together, if we got to cut it up into 2 pieces to get them interacting over the course of 2 movies in one story, I think that's probably a little bit better than why they split up Twilight into the book or even the Hobbit movie in those movies, because we don't know what the story is. It could be, the size of the, Game of Thrones. There's no exact thing they're basing this off of. So I want to just call it on Mike, and I think it's a good. I think at the end of the day, we do want to see Rocket and Iron Man. We do want to see Peter Quill and Iron Man. We want to see all these people interacting.
Paul Rudd will hopefully be in this movie.
The more time we get, the better. Okay, moving on to round 3. And I'm sorry, I didn't call out. I'm just going awkwardly back. I want to thank our viewer submission, Aaron Evans, who asked that first question on Twitter. Thank you. This is another fan submission. Snow Dog on Twitter asked, Snow Dog's very underrated movie, right?
Oh, yeah.
He asked,
Cuba Gooding Jr.
who should play Captain Marvel? Carol Danvers. Captain Marvel is there's a DC and Marvel backstory to Captain Marvel. There's a lot of, stuff to it, but they've committed, this is the Carol Danvers version, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She's really their biggest superpower, also Kevin Feige said. Who do we want to see her play? Mike Carlson, you are up first. Michael, sorry.
It's okay. The most obvious choice is my favorite choice, Katie Sackhoff from Battlestar Galactica.
Friend of the Schmoes, on here often.
Well, she's great. She's spunky. She's cool. She will embody this character. You need somebody with that kind of charisma, that toughness, that can embody, because this character is a pilot. She's also flies and goes into space. So you want somebody who can do all of that. You want somebody who can sort of encapsulate all of those things at once. And she can do this. I am confident of it from her work.
I can see that. Hal?
I'm kind of going off the board for an unusual choice, but she had a startling directorial debut this year, one of the best indies of the year in a world. I'm going with Lake Bell. I think Lake Bell, she looks like... she looks like a tough chick, but she's also got a soft side to her. I think she will really bring kind of a modern feel that you were talking about with Katie Sackhoff, like someone who can, has a sense of humor. But she a really modern, cool version that I'd like to see her play Captain Marvel.
Michael?
I mean, I'd have to say Katie Sackhoff is the obvious choice to go in a completely different direction, just for the hell of it. I'm not going to get the point, but let's say Emma Watson. Let's go younger. Let's see somebody who clearly has a handle on she's magnetic. We've seen that in Perks of Being a Wallflower. We've seen that as her in Hermione and like.
Have we seen that though? Like, have we seen her range yet?
I mean, she, like Bling Ring
or toughness. I guess Bling Ring is a good example.
Yeah, we're seeing that she's able to play against the convention of we thought she might just be locked into nice smart girl. We see that she can do more than that, and I feel that she's somebody who is looking to stretch herself. Not only that, Carol, the character of Captain Marvel is somebody. And this is kind of going outside of like the scope of movies, but is really showing herself as an assertive, like powerful female figure. And with the he for she movement that Emma Watson is backing, she is the face of that right now. And I feel that would be a very powerful, just like all empowering.
And I'm sure she's dying to sign up for another 7-picture contract.
But then the other answer. If we want to just go joke answer, Beyonce, drop mic, billions of dollars.
Oh man,
right.
I could get behind that.
I could also get behind that.
But I don't feel Emma Watson brings the gravitas that you would need for Captain
Marvel is a colonel. She's a high-ranking military official.
Yeah, unless you were going to do straight-up origin story and then throw Emma Watson in some
I know
makeup.
I know you don't like origin stories, but I mean we've been seeing time and time again. They've been flipping the script. The fact that Ultron is being developed by Tony Stark and not like in the Ant-Man universe.
Hank Pym.
Yeah, Hank Pym. Mm-hmm. There we go. So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
That's just for necessity of storytelling. But I think Lake Bell just brings that edge that you need. Like I don't know. Lake Bell is something mysterious in her eyes.
We're talking edge. It's Katie Sackhoff.
I feel she's too flighty personally with Lake Bell, but I thought she was entertaining in a world, but I didn't feel like she was going to scare me at any point. Like I feel either Sackhoff or Emma Watson can actually.
Emma Watson can scare you?
She can be pretty imposing.
Well, watch Battlestar Galactica, the episode where Starbuck is fighting Lee Adama. They're just having it out after seasons of this tension and back and forth and romance, and like the toughness and the sweetness is all in that performance. And you also believe that she's the best fighter pilot on that ship. I mean,
do you want to see her play practically the same role again?
Yes.
That's a good point.
Yes, I do. She's great at it. Why would we want to see her do something that she's not great at?
I mean, one of the things that Marvel does really well is just giving us exciting casting choice. I feel like, she'd be solid. I don't know. Lake Bell, I think, is a more exciting choice.
That's a tough one on that one. I'm going to call it on Mike, though, just because I'm not seeing the Lake Bell. But I want to give you a half a point because I feel like you're right in that I like Marvel taking those chances. And if they, or the director, believe that she can do it, kudos. And that's a good point. That's worthy of it. But at the end of the day, I kind of want to see Katie Sackhoff do it again. Battlestar's not on, and I feel like she can be aged from her character in Battlestar a little bit and take it a little further. So another point for Mike and half a point for Hal.
This is scored like golf, right?
Yes.
So I'm really killing it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm. Great.
All right, moving on to round 4. Which Avenger should retire first? Obviously, we are running out of contracts. Things are going to start winding down. We've even brought that up in our second round. Which one do we want to see go first if we had to do it, either in an epic way or just because we don't like them? Hal, I go to you first.
I'm going to go with Thor, Chris Hemsworth. I want him to retire or lose the hammer, and Thor fades into obscurity. And then let's follow the comic route and get a female Thor to grab the hammer. And then you would have a female Thor and Captain Marvel, two strong female protagonists as part of the Avengers. And man, the cool power dynamic, because those would be like the two most powerful characters in that universe. Thor is a god. Captain Marvel has the powers of, Kevin Feige was saying it's their Superman, more or less. I think that would be...
Did he say that to just try and one-up all the news that finally DC is doing a Wonder Woman, the first super... Do we feel like that was on purpose, that he really was just making that hard to be like, no, well, our superhero is stronger?
I mean, I think a lot of it is engineered to undercut, pull the rug out from DC. But, man, to me, that would be such a cool storyline. And then plus, if Thor lost the hammer and they were, like, battling Thanos and, like, man, I wish we had a Thor, and then, boom, a new Thor arose.
It's pretty exciting. Michael.
Hawkeye. Like, what has he been doing at all? Just he's had a cameo in Thor, the first film. He was next to useless in Avengers. There's no time to thoroughly develop him, especially when you're adding two new characters and their buddies in Age of Ultron. He's just kind of taken up space. So let's just casually cast him aside, and maybe later he can be revisited as some other character.
Joss Whedon has said it's Hawkeye and Hulk have a big part in this movie.
That would be amazing.
And Ultron. So maybe we'll find out more about him in this one. Mike, what do you think?
I'm saying Iron Man because, first of all, he tried to retire in the third one. The end of the third movie, he wants to retire. In this Ultron, he screws it up. He's the guy who creates Ultron, so obviously Tony Stark needs to retire. Like he's obviously the oldest by 15 to 20 years. He's getting up there. Do we want like 65-year-old Tony Stark? Don't we want?
Why not?
Now, you want to see him with Rocket. Now, that's what I'm saying. Do you want Tony Stark then to stay in the movies as not Iron Man?
Yes, I do. I'll have Tony hanging around. He's obviously maybe running S.H.I.E.L.D. He's running some sort of a business that's helping to protect everything. But as far as him being Iron Man, it's probably time to step down in the next 5 years, maybe at the end of the next Avengers movie.
Interesting. What do you guys think, hearing each other's debates?
It would be kind of cool to see old Tony Stark being like, I'm too old for this, but I could still wear the suit, and, you know, maybe his drinking problem comes back, and he's just like the grizzled veteran. He's like, and he becomes mad with power, and you know, in Civil War, you know, you have that dynamic of him versus Cap, and some of those elements of like hanging on and the old guard could really come into play.
And like, I'm okay in like if in phase 10, if Tony like 75 and he needs to put the suit back on like a Dark Knight Returns type thing, where he's just like, I gotta get back out there one more time. That's great, but I do think he needs to let it go for 20 years or so.
What do we think of Hawkeye?
I love Hawkeye. Hawkeye, we have barely scratched the surface on Hawkeye. I want him to hang around if for no other reason than maybe we'll get a solo movie, because I want that based on...
Wow, you're going the complete opposite.
I want a solo... I want a trilogy of Hawkeye solo films.
You also want a 6.5 hour...
Yes, I want one of these movies every week also. Like, I just want to put that out there.
Right. If Hawkeye and Black Widow tell us anything, it's that anyone can be an Avenger.
Well, yeah, I need to know, what is the Hawkeye... What makes that interesting? You're losing me a little bit.
I love Hawkeye, and if you read his latest comic book written by Matt Fraction, which is amazing, it's Hawkeye, and he is just in an apartment building, and he fights an Armenian gang, and he has a dog named Pizza Dog, and it's the greatest comic book. It's so much fun. He's such like a regular dude who's trying to grapple with being an Avenger, because all these people are gods, and he's just a dude.
Yeah.
So like, he's sort of a loser, but he's really fun because he's trying hard, and he tries to help the people in his building, and it's this awesome, fun adventure, but we want to see that on the screen.
But it's his struggle as a regular person amidst
heroes. Truth be told, it has not translated to the screen. Jeremy Renner is taking up space,
he was
more or less.
Controlled in the first one. Like, that's a strange thing to do to a new character, is immediately go, oh yeah, he's a good guy, but he's mind controlled immediately.
Yeah. True.
So the audience is like, well, I don't know who this guy is.
Well, it just strikes me as very strange that we're going to have a character who's been around for several movies, and then we're introducing two new characters, but then we're also like, hey, why don't we learn a little bit about this guy who's just been in the shadows for...
Well, that's what those solo movies will be for, is to really learn about him and what his life is like.
How?
Well, I mean, you do need him there for Civil War. In Civil War, you need you need to have all these characters going at each other.
You also needed Spider-Man for Civil Wars, but we
talk about a dream. I would love that. I mean, Sony, please make it happen.
Probably not happening.
Okay, so those are all really fantastic debates. I gotta say though, man, I'm having a tough. I don't want to see Hawkeye, so you get a point for that. But I
Just personal preference,
but
and
I think,
probably a little pity.
But I think honestly, you each got points because you made a good point of saying that because he was brainwashed, we didn't really get to learn him. So, and I do like this idea of Thor losing the hammer and the female Thor lifting up amidst the battle. Like that could be a great sequence. I think honestly, all three of these are good, and that seems like I'm being a terrible judge, but I'm giving all three of you points.
It's like this round never happened.
Exactly. Well, you all earned it. It was a good one.
Thank you.
Okay,
Michael, wasn't that your first point?
Yeah, but negated by your points. So, feeling great.
It's the tabulation at the end that really matters. Time for round 5.
Doesn't make sense.
Kevin Rockland actually sent us an email to tips@screenjunkies.com where he asked, which Marvel villain should appear in Phase 3? Thank you for writing, Kevin. We do read our emails, and we were fascinated by that question because I think it's a good one because there really haven't been strong villains in these movies. It's all about the heroes, with maybe obviously the exception of Loki. Now we have a whole new phase. How do we introduce a cool new villain? Who do we want to see? And we're going to start with you, Michael.
It's not so much a new villain, so I apologize for answering in an indirect way. Hey guys, what happened to Red Skull? That's my question, because we ended Captain America with him just like phasing off, and we've had no explanation so far. I feel like there's a larger component in play that I would like to see come to light, and it doesn't seem like we'll be seeing it in either Civil Wars, Age of Ultron, or even Infinity Wars.
Well, you're gonna have 2 movies to. You gotta fit some stuff.
There
in
was a rumor going around. I remember at the time that in Winter Soldier, Robert Redford was gonna be Red Skull. Was what the twist at the end was.
Rumor, yeah.
Like, oh, he had somehow whatever. But would we have liked that? Would you have liked that?
I wouldn't have liked that. But I'm curious because he obviously now has a celestial connection going on, as it was Tesseract energy that sent him into space. There's something fun that can be pulled from this unknown otherworldliness that I feel would make a very fun return for that character, especially since, so much has changed and we don't know what he's been up to. So I feel like that's an interesting thing.
It's a fair answer. I like that, and we haven't really known where he's going. Mike Carlson, what do you think?
Excuse me. I want MODOK. MODOK is a character, obviously, from the Marvel Universe who is a gigantic head. He was created by Jack Kirby. He's probably, like, if he were real, let's say he's like 20 feet high, he's mostly a head, tiny little arms, tiny little legs. It's like no other character we've seen before.
Easter Island.
Like Easter, yeah, a little bit like Easter Island. Those are more tall than wide. But this is going to be, we have not seen like a really fantastical character that almost breaks the physics of what we know is like reality now, and that will do this. He's kind
of like Krang, right?
He's a little bit like Krang, only he's like, as if Krang sort of grew big and he was like too big for his body, but he was like kind of sticking out. That's what MODOK would look like. MODOK has sometimes been treated as a comedy character. I'm okay with either. There was an episode of the Iron Man cartoon where he disguised himself as a giant baby. I think something like that would be very fun. It would be a nice little break from the seriousness.
I feel like they did that with the Mandarin though in Iron Man 3, didn't they? And that sort of ruined it a little bit.
Well, he would still be MODOK. He's not going to be revealed to be some sort of an English character actor. So as long as that's going to happen, I'm okay though if we have a giant MODOK with a little bonnet on and people are like, oh, look at that giant-headed baby. That's very. Like, I want something like that. I want something weird. I want it to get weird.
You want the absurdist piece from Marvel.
I want
And
absurd.
Which movie do you see him appearing?
All of them.
You had me, and then
all of them.
Hal, what do you think?
I think we're getting plenty of weird with Guardians. I
want weirder, baby.
Okay. Too much of a good thing. I want to see Kingpin. Kingpin is the street level mob boss that is going to wreak havoc in the city, and Kingpin would be a great avenue to suck in. Punisher, man, if you wanted a way to get Spider-Man in there, that'd be great. And also Daredevil. And they're saying that they're going to fold in the Marvel TV shows. Kingpin is going to be played, I believe, by Vincent D'Onofrio in Daredevil. So that would be just really cool to see, and it would bring some of that gritty action that we saw in Winter Soldier. I loved that. You
did love that. What do you guys think of Kingpin? Do you want to see him again?
I love
from
Kingpin.
Michael Clark Duncan's portrayal.
The
late great Michael Clark Duncan.
Yes, I love the Kingpin. I want to see him, but he's a normal human. We've seen normal human villains before. He doesn't have a gigantic head. He has a big head, but he does not have a gigantic head.
That's a fair. Yeah.
I think Thanos more than fills the void of fantastical villain. Kingpin would give us an awesome counterbalance to that on Earth.
Yeah, I mean, arguing on your behalf, we don't have the human sort of mastermindy character. We had like Robert Redford as like Hail Hydra, but it wasn't. It was more of like an ideology like evil that was existing rather than just like corruption and just kind of ruthless. So I can understand that.
Michael, you know what I'm going to do right now? I'm giving you a soul point on this round. You know why? Because I agree with you. You gave Hal a good point, which Hal didn't come up with. But I also think it's a fair point of why don't we have Red Skull? He's such an iconic villain to Captain America who's become such an important part of this universe. How do we bring him back? And they have to do it in a cool way that the Rob Redford way wouldn't have been, so I'm glad you didn't like that.
Would it change your mind if I said that there was a Modom? Also, he had like a lady MODOK that could...
could there be like a floating head family?
Yes, and he's made other characters into floating heads.
If you had sold me on where he goes realistically, I would have maybe went on board, but I got to give Michael his due. He gave a good argument there. You're on the board fairly, so good work. Let's go to round 6. Now, there's a deadline, actually, parts of an article that they're trying to make Captain America Winter Soldier an Oscar movie. They're putting out the press releases, and they're trying to get out there for the Russos, the director, Best Picture, all these things. So the question then comes, should Captain America Winter Soldier be nominated for a Best Picture? Do we think we've gotten to a point where a superhero movie could get the nom? And we're going to lead with Mike Carlson. What do you think?
I don't think it should be nominated because in my opinion about the Oscars, like, it's for a different thing. Captain America does not need the Oscars. Like, we've already, like, it's one of the most popular movies of the year. It's made all the money. Oscars should be for something that's like a very well-made piece of art that maybe the general public doesn't always see. I understand Titanic wins, and sometimes they have popular films, but I don't think it necessarily is the best movie of the year, and I also don't think it needs the bump because the Oscars is a bunch of movies that I am forced to see because they're going to be in the Oscars, and then I'm shown a bunch of stuff I might not have gone to the movies normally.
I mean, the argument came originally with Dark Knight, which didn't get the slot, which everyone seems to think it should have. Do we think that should have been it? Was Winter Soldier on a better league? Let's keep the conversation. But Hal, what's your thoughts?
Is it the best picture of the year? No. Is it one of the 10 best movies of the year? Hell yes. I mean, it's just another money grab by the Academy. I don't like that there are so many movies nominated, by the way, because it's like, we can't make up our minds, so let's do Little League Baseball and give everybody a trophy. Screw that. But we live in that reality. So since there are 10 movies possibly being nominated, usually like it's 8 or 9, let's include Winter Soldier. It's one of the best movies, one of the most entertaining movies. It succeeds on so many levels. It's a transcendent superhero movie. And because of that, let's celebrate that. I mean, the Academy has this problem where it can't nominate an excellent comedy or an excellent action or superhero movie. That's BS. I don't know. Pardon me, but sorry, Mr. Spielberg, but Lincoln was a snooze fest, okay? I started watching that with my mom. She was visiting, and we got it on iTunes. I went into my room and took a nap, okay? Sue me, okay? Sorry.
It was more of like a play than a movie, wasn't it?
Yeah. This was a great movie. This celebrates the medium of film.
Michael?
It does have its attractiveness in the fact that it's discussing a sort of topical discussion of privacy versus security, as I've gone over before. It does have that throwback of the espionage that everybody seems to be a big fan of. Technically, it can get sound mixing, sound editing. It can probably even get visual... Well, no, it probably won't get visual effects. But I don't see it being Best Picture material in that there are going to be movies that will introduce the idea of security and privacy even, like, better than Captain America. I don't think that any.
But let's be clear, we're not. The question is, should it be nominated? I think it's fair to say it's not the best picture, but out of 10 roles, do we think it's fair to be the top 10 nominations?
No, I don't think so, because for it to be nominated, there need to be many attributes in play. I don't think, while performances are good, I don't think there's standout performances that make me be like, oh, that moved me, or the screenwriting was so strong that it really made me reconsider where I stand in this larger debate. I think a Best Picture nomination should be making me.
Why does Avatar get a Best Picture nomination and Winter Soldier can't? This is a great piece of escapism.
It's a good point. Mike Carlson.
I would say that Avatar should not have been nominated.
Yeah.
So that would be what I would say. But here's what I think. I think that Captain America 2 is like a delicious chalupa from Taco Bell. And I don't mean that as an insult, because I love chalupas. I eat a couple a week, and it's what I would like to eat more than something like a fancy kale salad, something more nutritious, something really delicious. I am a chalupa fan. But the Oscars is for those fancy kale salads, and it's not. It's.
But do we want that?
Well,
Yes.
I don't think it needs to be exclusionary, and I do feel there's a.
I want to exclude things.
I feel there's a place for movies like that. I just don't feel personally.
The Guys' Choice Awards on Spike TV. It should sweep the Guys' Choice Awards. I am on record as saying that.
I would think there's a it's going to be up against Guardians and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. By the way, Dawn I think should be nominated as well.
I think Dawn more so than Captain America, personally.
I think for the most part you're right, Mike, in that it is the place of kale salads. But hey, let's make it a full meal and let's have an awesome sundae for dessert. This is a transcendent action film. This is it was kind of an afterthought, and then it was like, wow, it surprised everyone, became one of the best Marvel films in recent memory. I think it earned its place.
Yeah, I mean, I ultimately got to go at the end of the day. It's like, I feel like you're making a good point of, I think we do need to make the Academy rethink the Star Wars and things that haven't gotten in the past. And I think it slowly is with the Avatars, but Avatar shouldn't have either. But I think whether each... Out of all these arguments, I think your strongest point to me was there's 10 movies. There's 10 movies. It's definitely up there. And I do agree. The less Lincolns, the better, just because why do we need to keep rewarding these Snorefest movies that just because Daniel Day-Lewis deserved the Best Actor nomination doesn't mean it deserved the Best Picture. So I'm going to give it to Hal in this round. And I like that you brought up the Avatar because you brought it up. I almost gave you a point for the chalupa, but I hate Cal salad, so I don't want that to keep going in there. So
it could have been anything. It could have been anything.
Round 7. So J.O.M. Martin on Twitter asked, and this is coming. This is now we're leaving Marvel territory, so bear with us. But he asked a very fascinating question: who should play Joker in a potential Batman solo film? We did this question. Just was interesting to me, and I wanted to throw it in there. Thanks for submitting. But obviously, there is going to be a solo Batman movie with Ben Affleck. We need to then, obviously, Joker is too iconic to not bring back at some point. We got to do it at one time or another. How do we want to do this? Who should be it? Do they need to channel Heath Ledger at all? Are we completely ignoring that? Do we have to go a little bit there? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And sorry, who ended up last round? We're starting with Hal. No, I'm sorry. Starting with Michael.
I'm gonna go with a maybe weird throwbacky one. Michael Keaton. I feel for two reasons. One, if any of you have seen Birdman,
yes.
He is like, if you ever were to doubt the man had acting chops, hot damn, the man has acting chops.
See Birdman.
It's fantastic.
It's good.
So you can see that he can channel varying degrees of energy and intensity. Also, there's the wonderful, oh yeah, wasn't he the first Batman, as far as, our more current realm. And then you've got the aspect of, Beetlejuice was wonderful, and so he can capture that zaniness. So there's a wide spectrum that he can be playing to. And I feel like we also, I don't feel it should be a Heath Ledger nod in any way. I feel like it should be his own thing, and I think taking it that slightly older angle on Joker would be very interesting and engaging, and we haven't seen anything like that before.
Michael, I've already given you a point because you blew my mind. Fantastic answer. You could still win another point if you win this debate. But let's keep going. Mike Carlson, what do you think?
I am going to go with Adam Driver from Girls and the upcoming Star Wars film, because we've seen 100 versions of the Joker. We've seen him as a charming kind of crazy guy. We've seen him as a real ruthless killer. We've seen the Heath Ledger. We've seen the Jack Nicholson. I want a young guy who's charismatic and explosive to do his own take. I'm not even sure exactly what he would do with it. I just know that this guy has a bunch of charisma, and he's also very scary sometimes, and that's what we need for the Joker. I'm not exactly sure what he would do with it, but that's why I'm excited about it, because I want a fresh take on this.
When is he when has Adam Driver been scary? When he's having dirty talk with Lena Dunham?
First of all, he is.
I mean, there is something inherently scary about that.
But some scary sexual things to people.
Yes, he has a lot of scary sexual things to people. He makes a woman like crawl on the ground, and he's like intense and
terrifying in a different way.
And this is where I leave you. He like really has Jason Bateman a little concerned when they're driving in a car. So I think that.
It's horrifying.
Hal, who do you want to see?
I like Adam Driver, but I got to hedge until I see him in Star Wars and do something that is out of his indie darling persona, because he has been like he's an indie darling. Michael Keaton, you said, oh yeah, and then there's the thought that he was the first Batman. That's not an oh yeah, that's stunt casting. Like that's insane. That's almost pretty much a disqualifier. It's so weird. That would be so weird that he was the first Batman and then he played Joker.
Completely different franchises.
They are completely different franchises. They're reboots and everything, but it's still, I don't know. That's just too weird.
Isn't that what Joker is? It's Joker is all about flipping things on their head, and nothing would be better casting than flipping. Making Batman.
Your childhood Batman has now gone psychotic. Yeah.
Yeah. Joker loves watching Rome burn, and he is.
Who are you picking, Hal?
I'm going to go with Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, that guy just immerses himself. I mean, he is such a chameleon, role after role, and he could channel his own particular version of crazy. Like Joaquin Phoenix. A lot of people ding the master for being like a little bit long and pointless, but the performances were out of control, and Joaquin Phoenix, the way he loses himself in there and plays that damaged goods person.
So do you see him doing because I like that choice. It's a little obvious, but it's like, do you see him doing it similar to how he did it? He's going to find his own way in doing that?
He's going to find his own particular way. I don't think anyone should try to mimic anyone ever, really, unless it's like a biopic. I think that would be a lazy choice.
I want to ask that to everybody, because I find that interesting. It's like there was an anarchist way that he portrayed it, where it's like it was pretty perfect. It was pretty great, and it's not to say that we're stealing it from Heath, but it's like it was just such an iconic way to do that. The Joker, in a way, in today's world, in a realism way, we can't borrow from that at all. Like he needs to do his own completely thing, or are we gonna be annoyed that it's like, yeah, that was a little too much like Heath did?
I think give it like 10 years and then you can start taking from Heath. It's just so it's just like 6 years, and people are just gonna be like, well, I can clearly see he's going, he's licking his lips and he's doing the whole thing. Like, and you're gonna go, well, I'm just thinking of Heath Ledger the whole time. I want to be.
You're gonna think it regardless, even if he's not licking his lips, right?
I think Mark Hamill sometimes, because Mark Hamill's one of my favorite Jokers. I'm a big
wonderful.
Cesar Romero fan as well.
Cesar Romero's great. Even Jack Nicholson was good, and his borrowed from Cesar Romero a lot. Whoever we pick, I think we could all agree we need a new Joker, because this Halloween, the glut of Heath Ledger Jokers, and that we've had since The Dark Knight, it's too much. It's too much. We've seen too many Heath Ledger Jokers at this point on Halloween.
Hot Topic has made too much money off of that character.
I mean, mind-blowing. One of my favorite cinematic villains of all time, Heath Ledger's Joker, but too many Halloween costumes.
All right, I'm going to call it, I'm going to give Michael another point for winning that debate. I think you made a good battle, and I'm still blown away, because it is stunt casting, but to me it's kind of cool stunt casting.
It's that
but I'm going to give you half a point for the Halloween costume bit, because that was fun as well.
Thanks.
All right, we're moving on to our final round. This just came in the news. Seth Rogen is going to be playing Steve Wozniak in Danny Boyle's Steve Jobs flick, with Christian Bale playing Steve Jobs. Which brings up the question, one, I want to know, do we like that? Can he pull off I'm sorry, that is our main fight. I'm reading the sub fight. Let's start there. Can Seth Rogen pull off the dramatic role is a question, but then I want to also get into who's other best comedic, what other comedic actors have pulled off these dramatic roles. But let's start with Seth Rogen. Can he pull off this role of a dramatic role? And Mike Carlson, let's start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I always like to look at who's making the film as well, because that person obviously has a big role to play in helping an actor pull off any role. And Danny Boyle's great. Seth Rogen, I think, has been in certain movies, Funny People, and has shown that he doesn't have to be making a poop joke or I don't want to say the swear word, but a swear word related joke. So I think that, in a movie, when you go, a Danny Boyle movie, most people are going to be great in it. You take Seth Rogen, who is a very talented guy, of course he's going to do a great job.
Hal, what do you think?
Yeah, agreed. You had his running mate in Wolf of Wall Street.
His running mate?
Yeah.
Were they running for something?
Yes. And it's not that much of a stretch for him. I think he can definitely do it. He's shown chops. I 100% agree that Seth Rogen can pull this off.
Michael?
Most of Apatow's camp is very capable of doing dramatic. I mean, they all showed that in Funny People. 50-50 is another example where he's he plays the funnier angle of it, but he's still able to be somber and sober and dramatic when he needs to be. He also brings a fair amount of heart to that.
So this was a very exciting fight.
Yeah.
Because we all agree. So let's bring it down to, we like Seth, so we think he can pull this off. And I think the role's probably a little silly anyway. Steve Wozniak's, you'd think if Josh Gad's take, he's a little...
He was the comic relief of
exactly.
the duo
He's a little
of
blustery.
Steve Jobs and...
let's take it to the sub fight then. Who is the best comedic actor in a dramatic... What is the best, comedic actor in a dramatic role? What do we think? We'll go back to you, Mike. Who do you think?
I'm going to say Bill Murray. And take your pick, Broken Flowers, Lost in Translation. I love The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. I think he is so sad in that movie and so affecting, and you feel for him the whole time. He's just he never says oh, I'm in pain, but you can feel the whole movie, and the time he's at the end, he's in the ship and the underwater, and that Sigur Rós song is playing, and I cry every single time. It's amazing.
Hal?
Love Murray. I worship at his altar. But Murray is always Murray. Bill Murray does his Bill Murray thing, and I'll watch that all day long. But when you're talking about a comedic actor in a dramatic role, let's talk about a comedic actor that did a role that was so shocking, so against type, that it turned people against him and had his fans being like, what the hell are you doing? But movie purists being like, wow, you did something different and you killed it. Adam Sandler in Punch Drunk Love. I'm a huge Paul Thomas Anderson fan, and that film, that Sandler performance was a total 180. And it's something we've never seen from him since, because the true Sandman fans were so against it and were so shocked by it. But as an actor, his levels of
yelling,
of yelling, the way he destroyed that bathroom came out of nowhere. And there were so many subtle tones as well.
It was a good role. It was a good role, Michael.
I'd go with Robin Williams in again a take your pick sort of situation. World's Greatest Dad, Awakenings, Dead Poets Society. He's an excellent individual who brings a sadness to some of these roles, but the humanity as well. There's so many in all of the these dramatic roles that he takes. You see so many levels to his characters, which is something that I feel. I mean, all of them exemplify Murray. Going off of that, Murray tends to hover, and there's a lot more internalized, which I'm not going to fault for, and I definitely do agree on Life Aquatic for that, but I feel World's Greatest Dad is a just soul-crushing performance from him, especially in light of more current events.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's kind of lost and listless, and he makes such a terrible decision that he then has to kind of deal with, and it more or less cripples him as he grapples with that. I just find he was a comedic actor who then was challenging himself in very different ways with each of his dramatic roles.
I would argue that Williams became more of a dramatic actor. He was better as this pseudo comedy, dramedy actor than being a straight up comedian after a while. He shifted gears later in his career. All the films there's so many that there is so many. He was no longer.
It's a good point. But do you guys think Robin Williams stopped being a comedian?
I would argue look to The Crazy Ones, a television show where he was holistically supposed to be like he was the funny man and Sarah Michelle Gellar was the straight man.
Do we really want to dishonor the man's memory by bringing up The Crazy Ones? And I don't want to say anything. I love Robin Williams, and I miss the hell out of him.
He wasn't the problem in The Crazy Ones, though. He did his job.
He killed it for what he was given. I mean, he riffed the hell out of that show.
He rips the hell out of everything. But Robin Williams, the thing is watchability in a film that might not be as good. If he's in a movie that's not quite as good, I don't think I'm as engaged as I would be with Bill Murray. Bill Murray can be in any single movie and you're still engaged, you're still interested in this guy. And as far as Adam Sandler's the king of doing the same thing every time. Even in that Paul Thomas Anderson movie, which is about the idea for that film was we're going to explore all these weird damaged people from Adam Sandler's movies and see where this guy's pain comes from. So yes, he's doing a great job. Also, you could cast a dog as the lead in a Paul Thomas Anderson movie and it's going to be amazing. So, I mean, I love that movie. I love Adam Sandler too. I'm just saying.
High praise to
Paul Thomas Anderson brings out the best in people.
He's great. He's wonderful.
I got to call it, and I just can't call up between Murray and Williams. I feel like those are the two best choices. Sandler was great in that film, but you can't. You did your best, but you just can't put them up, those two. So I'm going to give you both points.
Thank you
for those for the valid battle. And by doing that, I actually believe I've created a tie. Hal and Mike are tied. This is our first tie, so we're gonna have to go quickly into our first tiebreaker.
Whoa!
So Michael, unfortunately you're out, but you were close. You were 4. You were in 4 at the end. You were 1 away.
Do I get to attribute points?
You will help me make the winner. How's that? Is that fair?
Oh man!
All right, let's do this. So we asked on Twitter. You guys don't know this. This is speed. You each get a chance, and we'll rebuttal, and we'll go.
Are there multiple questions?
Just one. Okay. Jonathan Jones on Twitter asked, "What's the most overrated movie of the last decade since 2000?" Go.
Avatar.
Hal?
The most overrated movie.
I like his quick answer. Hal, you got to go quick.
Man of Steel.
Ooh, all right. Go. Let's hear it.
Well, Avatar was nominated for Best Picture. It's the highest-grossing film of all time, not adjusted for inflation, but the highest-grossing film of all time. Clearly, people love this movie. More people love this movie.
Oh, they're making 4 more movies.
They're making 4 movies. They're making a whole Avatar land down at Disney World, and that took the place of like a Star Wars land or a Marvel land out here. And
Al?
At least Avatar did something great, which was whisk us away in one of the most visually appealing worlds we've ever been to.
I'm not talking about Pandora, pal.
Yeah,
pal. Did I call you pal?
Pandora was great, and the unobtainium. Oh, when will they obtain it? But,
Man of Steel.
Man of Steel was such a misfire. It was such a dour tone. It crammed too much stuff into one movie, and it was really a rocky way for DC to get its new phase off and running. And I hear a lot of people love it. There are a lot. I mean, our good friend Mark Andreyko always is a Man of Steel apologist.
I don't trust anything Mark Andreyko says, Hal.
Man of Steel, I don't think is widely accepted as the misstep it was.
Yeah, who do we think more audience members liked more, Man of Steel or Avatar? Because that's really going to help make this call.
I think Avatar. I think the box office proves that more people like. There was return. People kept going back.
It's because of the visual smorgasbord that it was. People were like, "Oh, I got to see Avatar."
Well, yeah, I got to hear your argument on Man of Steel, because give me the more specifics of why that film is overrated, not why Avatar's not.
Oh, Man of Steel is overrated because it tried to. The first Superman franchise with Christopher Reeves told the Man of Steel story in 2 films, Superman 1 and Superman 2. This crammed Zod and everything into one movie, and the origin story and the story on Krypton. It was way too much. It was overloaded.
But why did people like it?
Why did people like it? That's what we're asking here. It's overrated. People just accepted, oh, it's Superman, I like it.
I think that on Rotten Tomatoes you can go, and I'm not going to check this right now, I'm just going to say it as a fact. On Rotten Tomatoes, Avatar is a higher tomato meter than Man of Steel, which means literally it is overrated. That's literally the definition. It's rated too high. And I think Man of Steel, I know, is sitting at like 56 or 60.
All right, we got to wrap that up. You both got your points, Michael. We can confer, but I got to say I'm going to go with Avatar on this one.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it was a close one there, and I'm with you, Man of Steel, but I think Man of Steel divided audiences. And Avatar, for some reason, is still just going strong.
Avatar was a weird juggernaut.
Because of the IMAX, I think? Or just
IMAX 3D,
Yeah.
It was like the first one that was like, look, dazzling effects.
So, amazing job, Mike Carlson. Your
Thank
first
you.
show, and you end up... Hal is still unable to clinch a
Yep,
victory. You
yep.
were very close.
Damn it.
All of you did a fantastic job.
I got to admit, when he said Avatar, I was like, no, that's a good choice.
Yeah, I saw like the deflation of hope. You're like, well,
that's the speed around. You both have the shot. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Tell us what you thought in the comments below. If you're watching on YouTube, please obviously use those. And if you're listening on iTunes, please go rate, subscribe, find us there if you're not. Tell us what you want us to fight about in either place, Twitter, YouTube, iTunes. If we pick your submission, which we did on a lot of these, one of these random lucky individuals will get a free Screen Junkies t-shirt, so thanks for submitting. Also, I want to thank the Schmoes Know Network. Thank you so much once again for having us here in the AfterBuzz Studios. Always a blast doing this. Again, don't forget to click the bottom on the left to click through the fights. I want to thank our panelists. Hal Rudnick, your Twitter at Hal Rudnick. Thanks for coming here. Anything else you'd like to plug?
Screen Junkies Show, yeah, I'll see you guys in cyberspace.
Michael Barody, your Twitter is at Belated Media. Anything else you'd like to... please check out his YouTube channel. Fantastic
yeah, just
stuff.
check out the YouTube channel. There are various things there that you might enjoy.
Link will be in the description below. And then famous commercial actor Mike
Yes.
Carlson. Thank you so much. Your Twitter, Fat Carlson, P-H-A-T Carlson. Anything else you'd like to tell the viewers?
If anyone lives in Los Angeles, at the UCB Theater, November 7th, I'm doing a show at midnight called The Orbiting Bear, a pleasure cruise to inner space. So go to ucbtheater.com to get a
if you
ticket
go
to
there
that.
and say Screen Junkies Movie Fight sent you, tell Mike Carlson and we'll find a way to get you a shirt.
Yes, please.
But only the first person to do that.
Yeah, one person.
How's that, Mike? Is that a cool plus?
That's very cool. Thank you. Yes.
All right, good. Hal knows how hard I am to give those away, so that's he's impressed. Thanks again, everybody. I want to thank AfterBuzz Schmoes Know. We're wrapping this up. Please subscribe for more movie fights and tell us what you want to see. Thank you. We will be here next Sunday, and have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Woot. Bye-bye.
Every podcast we put on YouTube comes with this kick-ass graphic listing all the topics your favorite Screen Junkies podcasters are talking about. If you click the topics, you can skip around and choose your own podcast battle royale. Go ahead, try them all. If you haven't already, subscribe to Screen Junkies on YouTube to join us for future fights. Or if you prefer to listen on iTunes, click the logo to download an audio version. Lastly, please support our friends at the Schmoes Know Network for more awesome shows.